Trump's attacks on Iran are just wildly illegal. They're a mistake of just epic scale. He has learned absolutely nothing from decades of U.S. military disaster in the Middle East. He's spent apparently not a single minute studying all the lives lost and all the trillions of dollars that we wasted in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. Listen, the American public have been crystal clear about this. They don't want to be dragged into another totally unnecessary war of choice in a far-off place like the Middle East. What they want is an American president who is focused on them. Donald Trump has intentionally ruined our economy. Flat wages, disappearing jobs, rising prices, widespread corruption, and apparently he's interested in doing anything and everything except addressing the disaster that he has wrought on the American people here at home. A military action to eliminate Iran's nuclear program, just totally unnecessary. We had a diplomatic deal with Iran to do that. It was working until Trump threw it out against the advice of all of his advisors. So let's be really clear here. Trump willfully precipitated a moment where Iran is only apparently a handful of weeks away from a nuclear weapon. And I'm not even sure that that's true. Right? You can't trust anything coming out of this administration. Now, he also says that his goal is regime change. Well, he should be really careful about what he wishes for. First, it may not work, and then you're just hardening Iran's resolve to make trouble for the United States and our interest in the region. But even if it succeeds, what is likely to emerge from the rubble is not a Iranian inclusive democracy, but it's a far more repressive, more anti-Israel, more anti-US hardline government, led likely by elements of the IRGC. The American people, I think, now see Trump exactly for who he is. He is a would-be dictator who doesn't care what we think, what Americans want. He doesn't care about our Constitution or our laws. He just sees himself as some kind of 18th century monarch that has unlimited power to drag us into all sorts of disastrous wars of vanity overseas without the consent of the people. But in this country, the only way that you go to war is through the consent of the people. We aren't a monarchy. We don't have kings here. We do not allow one doting, self-obsessed old man to decide if we go to war. The people decide through a vote. That's what our Constitution says. It's absolutely clear about that. And that's why Congress has to be called back into session right now, today, to begin debate on legislation that would either approve of or deny the president's illegal war against Iran. Now, I am praying this morning for the safety of our U.S. forces in the region and overseas, but they are being led into war by a leader who is out of control. And Congress has to do our constitutional duty to rein him in right now before it's too late.